So now we have, guess what? We have 20 minutes now, okay? For questions from the audience to anybody up here, okay? So we will, yes, okay, I will take the microphone to you. I feel like Ricky Lake. You know how Ricky Lake used to do this? Wait, do we what? Okay, great. Yes, you, sir. How are you?
Great, I'm good. So, I think that was a very, good concept that you shared. Randal, I think. Your name is Randal. So you mentioned your environment. Can you explain specifically what was it in your environment? And can you elaborate how you kind of treated that and towards the betterment of your condition? Yeah.
Love your question and thank you for asking. And just for context, I think about those times in that environment that wasn't healthy, and as I said, the thoughts, the million miles an hour thoughts that are constantly with me throughout the day, and ultimately feeling like there's just this dark cloud sitting over you that never really goes away. I don't know if anybody ever felt that. It just sits there. It doesn't go. It doesn't matter what's going on, how much money you have, whatever's going on. And I'm in an environment where my family, as James says, are doing very well, very successful. Every minute I'm hearing about the great things your father, your uncles, your aunties are doing. But there's something pulling me away from that. I can't find my happiness there, no matter how I try. And I'm a great speaker. Some people felt like I was like my father. I could stand up there and talk and move a crowd. But I was not happy, and I couldn't figure out what to do. And I remember, going to see a psychiatrist, and back then they were giving out CDs. Take these CDs home and just listen to them, and hopefully you'll feel better. It wasn't working. But the moment I decided to leave my environment and just move, I moved to DC, and I noticed as I began to pursue my goals that, as I said, those anxiety levels began to drop, the depression began to kind of fade away. I didn't need treatment at that time, and I began to be successful in my own right, to the point that my family had to look at me as an example to say, we want to be like him, But it took guts, and I had to leave. I had to physically get out of that space that was unhealthy for myself and find my own path and find my road. And when I did that, things honestly began to change for me. That's really my story. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was trying to see, because I know that certain people are prone to certain experiences, and it's very multifaceted. So was there any type of change in terms of the environment, such as your community? Did you gain a new amount of friends? Were you facing discrimination? What were the possible factors that,
I love that,
comparing DC to this type of climate?
I was in a very religious home. Pray about it, it'll go away. We're just strong. We expect you to be strong at all times, no matter what. And to be able to go into an environment where I could just be myself, where people could admit their faults, admit their failures, where I could interact with people from different cultures and just find common ground and not feel judged. But as the panel said today, feel loved, feel accepted just for me, where back home I wasn't. That was the real difference, being around like-minded people that I could be open with and be myself. It gave me a lot of strength. It really did.
Okay, so yeah. I'm not sure if you were attributing that to your family, or you found you related more to that population in that area. Is that what you're saying?
Great. And for everybody, as you become yourself, you begin to attract your own tribe. That's what I've noticed with life. As you be true to yourself, your tribe is going to show up. They're going to accept you for who you are. They're going to love you for who you are. So my brother, as I begin to just be me, I noticed that love began to come, community began to come, and people that were just genuine souls, non-judgmental, begin to come in my life. And I've been so much better for it. And I love all of you tonight as well. Thank you.
I just want to say, as soon as you said, as soon as you step into you, the right people show up, he handed them right back and sat down, and that is the answer for you. That was it. Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to point that out. It was really interesting. Cool.
Oh, no, that was his answer. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. Cool. Did you have something to add?
I was just gonna say, I'm actually jealous of Randall's voice. Truly? Yeah. Yeah, you got like this nice baritone and I kind of have this like squeaky tenor. I just want to say that like...
Well, I sound like a frog.
You and me both. So, anyway, no, I just wanted to say I'm jealous of Randall's voice.
I'm sorry. There's questions. Unless there's a follow-up to this question, then we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have a follow-up to your question in regards to the environment. When you think of like nature versus nurture, like where you're actually physically situated in space and time, in your body, in a room, in the space of the city you live in, the county, wherever it may be, right? Hearing that, knowing that my current situation that I'm living in right now in a physical space does not attribute to one's well-being, period. So, and knowing that I'm transitioning out into another space that may hold me in a specific way that's, I guess, more not as volatile as an environment as the current space I live in makes a huge difference for myself. And also, being a queer person is and also, gender nonconforming and all this other stuff, these identifiers and the environments that I'm in, I tend to morph or have to code switch to accommodate what others may want, more so than what I feel like I am truly obligated to be as my full self. And I think that's a full truth in regards to what environment can do to one person and how it may shape or how one has to reshape themselves as a form of protection, as a form of safety, and also it's a form of self-preservation. And sometimes I feel like I don't have the option. Hence, just me coming out with my name right now is a whole way of trusting, eventually coming to trust my environment to make myself known as Patria. So, to attribute to your question about like how does your environment, lend to, the shift and change of that environment. And that's on a daily basis, like going to portals. So like you're literally shifting every single second just so you could be seen and heard and feel safe at the same time. So it's a very tricky thing, but that question is a very, very important one. Again, it's nuanced. Everyone here has their own experience in spaces, right? And I think to reevaluate what spaces mean in various contexts is very important. And to make sure that spaces are safe for people like myself and people who do want to be a part of things. So there are those spaces that have the resources and things that they need to feel that way. So making sure we nurture that environment or continue to grow it is so important to innovate on that and grow it and move forward. So I think, when it comes down to environment, we have to, be able to look at our own and then see how we could change it for other people.
Thank you. I know I said 20 minutes, but I miscalculated the time because we have to be out of here at 9. So, we have a couple of things that we do want to talk about. Right now, we want to invite up here Yvonne Miranda to talk about some opportunities for people to be able to join us in our in NAMI. So please give it up for Yvonne Miranda. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are all phenomenal and the great work that you do. And that's why I'm here. Because we have, through NAMI, which is the greatest gift in my life, the training programs that we have available to people with a lived experience, and starting with youth now, the TAE, at the age of 17 and up to 25, we have our youth program and family and caregivers, along with our regular adult, from 18 and over, the peer specialist certification program, which 2 years ago with SB 803, Cal Mesa now, you can get your certification, and through Medi-Cal they can bill for peer specialists. And we now have a full crew of peer specialists, along with myself, that are certified and have our certification, which is really important to be recognized, but what also is living in our truth. That's what makes the difference in the world. Sharing our truth, being vulnerable, having the courage to make a difference in people's lives is what's really important. Our program is, we have classes once a month. It's 80 hours, at Monday through Friday, for 13 days, from 4:30 to 8:30. Our services and training are free, but there is homework to be done, but the rewards are great. And if you want to be a service and to people and share your story and make a difference in people's lives, and as well as your own. I also am a suicide attempt survivor. And that's, in the first part of my life, I was always making people happy. I shared the magic and made magic happen for everybody. I'm a floral designer, event party planner, and decorator. And I always made the magic happen. But when I came home, I closed the doors and shut myself in. And when life really changed for me, I decided that when there's a lot of things that happened, but I was supposed to have my own business and open it with my mom and dad, and then my dad died. We signed the contract and lease in July. He died in September. The following year, I was supposed to open my store. And the second week in October, my mom died the 1st of October. But if I had known then what I know now, I would have never had to open the store, and I would have just carried on. But then that changed my life, and I had to deal with the real world, trying to make everything happen. So I left the floral business and had to go into the real world, which was okay. But then I was working with people with all kinds of strange behaviors. And, I never had problems dealing with flowers, just me and a few other people. And even no problem, it was okay. But when you have to deal with all the other nonsense of people's pettiness and all this craziness, it was like, holy cow. But In the meantime, during that time, I also was striving and knew there was something better out there, and I kept striving and striving. I have also 15 years of motivational training behind me. Did all kinds and kept searching for, and when my last attempt at suicide, because I tried it 3 times, the last time was when my whole life changed. And I got introduced, and I had, through making a difference, struggling and getting out there, making a difference in somebody's life. But what happened was somebody made a difference in my life. They cared enough to say, you need to go and see this doctor, you need to do this. And so I did exactly what I was told to do. And in the meantime, I was struggling because I was living in a hostile environment. But I kept fighting for me. And that was, and believing in me and knowing that and it takes a working team. It takes your therapist, it takes your psychiatrist because of medication, and then it takes you, and you've got to show up in your life. And that's when the difference happened. And then I put all the tools that I have from the motivational training and all the other stuff, bringing it together. And then was introduced to another program and started volunteering. And what happened was I was in a recovery group, and